I saw fake people stay. Rome I saw fake people turn. Nikita know it. Crash road! Easy! You ain't.
Thank you and welcome to the Jamaica Funk Show. This is KT and you're listening to the Jamaica Funk Show. We play reggae music and we interview ordinary people doing extraordinary things in their lives. And tonight we will be interviewing Ms. Sharpelle Wells. She is the mother of a slain young black man who was slain in Chicago. He is an entrepreneur, and he was a senior sales exec for World Ventures, but we're going to talk about that shortly. We also is supposed to have a piece of poetry from Miss Johanna Bright, and I'm still waiting on it to come, but nevertheless, we'll see. And then we got some show enough, mama, shut your mouth, reggae music. So what I want you to do is to sit back, relax, grab that last piece of jerk chicken and whatever it is that you're drinking, and let's listen to some show enough. Mama, shut your mouth.
Them do everything, and now you them turn run and shame. Same friend when me grow it, a bad mind me through the fame. Me swear you was a real friend, can't believe us so easy or tame. Crew me wicked them jealous and that them same man why you a rubbish at out in a dream. Nuff sell out for nothing at all, bad mind them corrupt them we kill you just see nothing at all. Big up the real youth them, where you bullet with we brother from we never got nothing at all. Tell them we in it to win it, get a youth sky is the limit. So me a push forward stand tall, all when them woman fall. Crum, as a fake people see it, as a fake people pretend. Watch them and you will understand why me no put trust in a man. As a fake people see it, as a fake people pretend. Enough of them bees that you body done and behind your back watch them a make plan. You help them do everything, and now you them turn run and shame. Same friend when me grow it, a bad mind me through the fame. Me swear you was a real friend, can't believe us so easy or tame. Crew me wicked them jealous and that them same man why you a rubbish at out in a dream. Nuff sell out for nothing at all, bad mind them corrupt them we kill you just see nothing at all. Big up the real youth them, where you bullet with we brother from we never got nothing at all. Tell them we in it to win it, get a youth sky is the limit. So me a push forward stand tall, all when them woman fall. Crum, as a fake people see it, as a fake people pretend. Watch them and you will understand why me no put trust in a man. Crum, as a fake people see it, as a fake people pretend. Enough of them bees that you body done and behind your back watch them a make plan. As a fake people. Up to the time, Himalayas. Baby, timeless. Hey, we are baby. Play around, no. Seriously, you can't take me for clown. Never. I'm gonna run. Yo. Hey. Take it. You think it easy? Who you around with? You want it easy? Take me things on. You take my money too. So take into. Take in. You think it easy? Who you around with? You want it easy? You take me things on. Take my money too. So take into. Ford, that I feel you want now. Tree, that I feel the door and the grill and the padlock. Give me 5. For the fridge and the blender on the fridge top. Go on bad, for the Louis Vuitton bag. Take for the goods from Separate. Plus the ceramic tile and the gold plate doorknob. That I got pass you up. Take in, you think it easy? Who you around with? You want it easy? Take me things on, you take my money too. So take into. Take in, you think it easy? Who you around with? You want it easy? You take me things on, take my money too. So take into. Me like Matrix in a 3D. Fini CD, DVD, TV. Pay me back for all of those kiki. Give me 3 free. With you, me free. If your man big like Baby G, mine sing and DJ like Lady G. I will pay your visa fee. Grab me, yeah, sing for it like Alisa D. Take me, you think me easy? Who you ramp with? You want it easy? Take me things and you take my money too. So take into, take into, take in. You think me easy? Who you ramp with? You want it easy? You take me things and take my money too. So take into, take into. 4, that I feel the whatnot. 3, that I feel the door and the grill and the padlock. Give me 5. For the fridge and the blender on the fridge. Hey, go on bad. For the Louis Vuitton bag. Take for the goods from Separate. Plus the ceramic tile and the gold plate doorknob. That I got cost you up. Take in. You think me easy? Who you ramp with? You want it easy? Take me things and you take my money too. So take into, take into, take in. You think me easy? Who you ramp with? You want it easy? You take me things and take my money too. So take into, take into. Me like Matrix in a 3D. Fini CD, DVD, TV. Pay me back for all of those kiki. Give me 3 free. With you, me free. If your man big like Baby G, mine sing and DJ like Lady G. I will pay your visa fee. Grab me, yeah, sing for it like Alisa D. Take in. You think me easy? Who you ramp with? You want it easy? Take me things and you take my money too. So take into, take into, take in. You think me easy? Who you ramp with? You want it easy? You take me things and take my money too. So take into, take into, take in. You think me easy? Who you ramp with? You want it easy? Take me things and you take my money too. So take into, take into, take in. You think me easy? Who you ramp with? You want it easy? You take me things and take my money too. So take into, take into.
Yes, we're back. This is KT, and you're listening to the Jamaica Funk Show. Wow. If you want to hear this broadcast again, you can go to YouTube and you will go to the Catherine Winston channel. That's KATHERINEWINSTON. And you can hear this broadcast again. We have today with us a guest whose son was slain right here in Chicago. And there are certain circumstances surrounding this slaying that that brings about a lot of concern. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Miss Sharpelle Wells. Hey, Sharpelle, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. Absolutely welcome. Tell us about your son. Tell us, give us a kind of a introduction to what occurred and when it occurred.
Basically, on the night of I was in my home, I was sleeping around 2 a.m. I knocked at the door, and it was just like a famine at my door. And so it startled me. And so my mom, she was there at the house, and my husband, so we all came running to the door to see what was going on. And when I opened the door, it was the police. And the police was like, "Do you know a Courtney Copeland?" And I said, "Yes, that's my son." And then they said, "Well, you need to call this number." And so I'm like, "Okay." So at this point, my heart is like beating really, really fast because I'm like, "Police, what has happened to my child?" Because you're automatically thinking that something is wrong because the police is knocking at your door. And so my husband stayed with him and with the police officer, and the police officer had told him that that my son was at Illinois Masonic Hospital. He doesn't have any a lot of information, but this was supposed to be like a house check, so that way that the notification, they can give notification to the family. So my husband takes the number from the police officer, and he begins to contact Illinois Masonic. When he called Illinois Masonic Hospital, they told him that they can't give him any information over the phone. And so I began to tell my husband, I was like, this must be really, really bad, because they don't come to your house for one. And then when they tell you that they can't give you information on the phone, it usually means that there's something very, very wrong, or the situation is very grave. So the nurse from Illinois Masonic just told us to come into the hospital and ask for him. So once we arrived to Illinois Masonic, we tell them we're looking for Courtney Copeland, and they tell us, go into the family room. So when they tell you to go into the family room, you know that the person that you're coming to see has already passed away. So at this point, I'm just like totally falling out, because I'm like, no, I want to see my son. So I'm like demanding to see my son, but they're telling me that they cannot allow me to see my son because the doctor isn't present at the time, and so that I would have to wait until the doctor comes in order for us to see my son. And I was like, well, have my son passed? Is he on life support? What's going on with my son? They was like, they can't give me any information. So we wait for about 45 minutes before the doctor comes in. The doctor comes into the room. We're all in the family room, and he said that your son was brought in, and we did everything we could, and he died of a gunshot wound. I said a gunshot wound, because in my mind, my son was 22 years old. He was driving his car that he earned, a BMW. So I had automatically believed that he had been in a car accident. But when they said that he had been shot, I immediately screamed out, who shot my son?
Now, wait a minute. Sharpelle, wait a minute. Now, the average person hearing that your son was shot, they would automatically think he was in gangs or drugs. Tell people what your son did, who your son was, what he did for a living.
Yes, thank you so much for clarifying that, because that is correct. They automatically assume that young black boys are automatically drug dealers or gangbangers. So that's the category that they automatically put them in. And so, but my son, he was a travel salesperson. So basically, he sold travel plans to people, and he was in the company called World Ventures, and he had actually achieved in a short 18 months senior sales rep, and he had actually earned his 2008 BMW, where the company was actually paying it. So he had ranked up so fast within the company that he was one of the rising stars, and he had actually was on his way to director.
So he was a rising star in World Ventures.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. They said within 3 years he would have been one of the top leaders in the company, because he was just on the fast track to get that way.
Wow.
So when they said that my son was shot, I couldn't believe it, because he did not fit the mold. Like I was telling other people, I don't even think my son had an enemy. He did not have I don't even think he ever even had a fight in his whole entire life. Because he was such a nice, kind person, loving, I mean, it was just so hard to believe that someone had taken his life. Because and they were trying to tell me, well, maybe they were trying to get the car and everything, but the car was there. His stuff was there. His wallet was there. Nothing was taken from my son. And so them trying to, piece together why he was targeted, or he could have, and I was just like, it's just like unbelievable that I'm living this nightmare. It really is. And so when they told me that my son was shot and killed, I was like, I need to see my child. And I had to fight to see my child.
Wow.
They already told me that he had passed away. Now I have to go and fight with the doctors to see him, because they said, you can't see him, it's a murder case. I was like, I don't care what case it is, but you will not be taking my child out of this hospital until I see him. At this point, I'm getting angry and I'm hurt. I'm just going through all of this, these emotions all at the same time. But I had to see my child. So I had to wait until the detectives came before the hospital granted us permission to see my son.
So this is the hospital literally denying you the right to see your son.
Yes, because they said that CPD had told them that no one could see my son.
Now let's clarify, what is CPD?
Chicago Police Department.
Okay.
And he said that they said several standard protocols, which I'm not familiar with, with protocol, but they said this was standard protocol that in a murder incident that you are not going to see the body.
Wow.
It's supposed to go directly to the morgue. And I told them my child will not be going to the morgue without me seeing it, because I need to make sure that with my child, for one.
That's right.
That I want to see the condition that his body is in. My child was not going nowhere. I don't care. I was literally ready to, at this point, tear up the hospital.
Yes.
If I needed to, because this is the last moment, and then you're going to deny me the right as a mother to see my child. So I just wasn't having it.
So now there are some things surrounding this whole investigation. Take us through the investigation. What's going on with that?
Well, that night at the hospital, as I met with the detectives, after we viewed Courtney and we as a family, said our goodbyes to him, we wanted to get to what happened. What happened in these last moments of Courtney's life. And so we began to ask the detectives, how and who shot Courtney? And so the detectives immediately told us, we have no idea. We can't tell you where it happened, how it happened, or who did it. I said, but he said that he was in front of the police station. They said that my son drove up in his car, jumped out the car, and said he had been shot. I said, okay. And I said, well, what else did my son say? Your son didn't say anything else. I said, well, he would have had to say something. He would have said, my son, I know my child. My son would have given a description, 2 guys, 1 guy, black, white. He would have given something. If he had enough strength
to jump out of the car,
go over to the police car, and tell you he had been shot. He had enough strength to tell you who shot him and where it occurred. They insisted that my son said nothing. They insisted that. And so I was like, okay, there has to be more to the story. So they said that, they're investigating, trying to figure out trying to pinpoint exactly where this shooting took place. So I said, I wasn't getting anywhere with them. So I had to figure out what can I do to try to get more information in regards to my son's murder. So I filed a FOIA request for the area where my son was. Let me just tell you, it's the 25th district, which is on Grand and Central. His car was parked literally in front of the police station.
Now that's the northwest side of Chicago?
Yes,
okay.
Northwest side of Chicago, Grand and Central, 25th district.
Okay.
And so on this, I had tried to piece together all this information. So I went around the neighborhood where Courtney was on. We knew that Courtney was on his way to his girlfriend's house to spend the night. So from her area, she lives approximately around 5 blocks away from the police station. So we did the perimeter. When we tried to piece together the timeline, we did the perimeter from around the park to her house and to the police station. In that area is a school, it's a park, and it's a church. So these are what they call safety zones in the city of Chicago. In this small perimeter, which is about a mile all the way around, there's 15 cameras that are there. And when I speak of the cameras, I'm talking about the flashing blue light cameras that are
Right.
And so I'm like, you guys have to have picked up something. You should have been able to see my son coming in and out of this area because he has to pass all of these cameras. So I'm sitting with the detectives and it's like, you should be able to tell me something. You should be able to see who's following my son and someone attacked him. Because where he normally parks is right in front of the park in the school if he was going to her house. So it's cameras right there. You can't beat it. So then I discovered in talking with the detective, now the majority of the blue light cameras are inoperable.
Wow. Do y'all hear that, taxpayers in Chicago? Y'all paying for unoperating cameras that are supposed to be there uh, to be able to keep you safe. Yes, to not only deter crime, but show if there was a crime committed, show what happened in that crime. But the cameras aren't operating. Wow. Okay.
So I was devastated and I was in disbelief because of the fact that I thought sure we'd be able to solve this case just by the mere fact of how many cameras were in the neighborhood. And
so how many cameras in fact were working?
4. Once I filed the FOIA request for public records, we came back with 4 videos that
were taken of that night. Right.
And they said they clearly see my son's vehicle on this tape. So, I'm like, okay, great. You have 4 tapes. I need to see them. And then they told me that also they have 911 call, which the police actually hid that particular evidence.
So now, wait a minute. How did the 911 call come to view? Because okay, the initial officers told you that your son got out the car and approached a police officer that was sitting in his car in front of the police station, correct?
Yes.
So then what would have been the reason for him to call 911 if he had done that? And
that is the $1 million question. And I believe that my son's case surrounds around these 4 videos in this 911 call. In piecing together my son's timeline, what I can tell you is that at 1:15 a.m., my son was on a Facebook conversation with one of his coworkers.
Okay.
Talking and laughing and everything like that. Talking about, their day, how they're moving up and advancing within the company. They were basically encouraging each other.
Okay.
So at 1:15, they ended that conversation. And at 1:16, my son called 911.
Okay.
At 1:17, they're dispatching, the police is dispatching the ambulance. At 1:18, the ambulance was on the scene. So we're talking about like 3 minutes that something happened.
Okay.
So in my mind, the reason why I want these tapes so badly is because I need to be able to rule CPD out from doing any harm to my child. And I can't, because of the history of Chicago Police Department, we cannot say with all confidence.
Well, the history with CPD and black men.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to rule out, especially given Laquan McDonald's killing in Chicago and how they hid the video of him, and the Justice Department handing down the ruling against Chicago in terms of how CPD has handled these type of issues in the past. So yeah, so I can understand that. So how did you find out that there was a 911 call? Because you didn't find out from the police. You found out a different way, wasn't it?
Correct. The only way, and the police to this day still have not told me that they have a 911 call on my son. The only reason why I know about the 911 call, and I specifically asked
Mm-hmm.
Did my son call 911? Did anybody in the neighborhood call 911 reporting a shooting? Do you have any evidence that my son said anything? What did the person when he pulled up to the cops? What did he say to the cops?
So
what I wanted to know every bit of information.
right. So now, but how did you find out about the 911 call?
Once I received my son's merchandise, his material, everything that he had in his possession, I immediately plugged up his phone.
Okay.
Because he had gotten his phone like 2 weeks before he had passed away, and this phone was brand new. So when I got the phone back, the phone station was crushed. So I was like, what happened to the phone? We just got this phone, so it shouldn't be, the screen shouldn't be cracked. So I pulled up the phone, and the first thing that I pulled up and look at his call history, and it was the 911 for 31 seconds.
Wow. So if it was for 31 seconds, he literally did speak to someone. He spoke to someone. 31 seconds is enough time. Because, I mean, I'm looking at my clock right now, you know, and my clock, you know, shows in seconds as well as minutes. And 31 seconds is enough to get out, you know, I've been shot. Can you send the police or can you send an ambulance? So yeah. So there's something going on that they don't want. At least that's what it appears to me. You know, I don't know if that is the truth or not. We're not saying it is the truth, but it's pretty doggone. It smells pretty doggone fishy to me.
Yes, and it's fishy to us too because, like I said, we're still trying to deal with the death of our son. And then we have to, now we're fighting to get his case. So basically, once I filed the FOIA request, I was told that I cannot have access to it. And I'm like, why can't I have access to these videos? They said, because on a murder case. I said, yeah, it was my son who was, oh yeah, that's why I want to see it. I'm not asking you to put it up and put it up on the CTE website. I just want, I don't know.
Sharpelle, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back. You're listening to the Jamaica Funk Show, and we're talking to Sharpelle Wells with regards to her son, Courtney Copeland, who was shot in Chicago, Illinois, March 4th, 2016. It is an ongoing murder investigation, but there are a lot of things that are not adding up. So when we come back, we're going to continue to talk to her. So sit back, relax, and let's listen to some reggae music. Well, Iron On.
Yo, Jenna. Big tree, a Crawford tree, Brookwood. Yo.
Ready man ready. Ready man ready. Governor. Ready man ready. Lift up everything right now, cause I ready man ready. Skeleton ready, while the Remington steady. Rifle a chop out them belly and jelly. Pan clip, roll no like a elephant belly. I know them if you go circle them and stand shelly. Can't get your boy murder the from belly. Buck him at the liquor store, him a buy any game. 4 as him done order the cranberry. Make a shot, the beretta cock shot a clap fast. Warm up them hands like pepper hot sauce. Anyway the Jenna step a mad brass. Who that a make the glock blast in a black boss. So me circle the hot dance. Place nice, be a hot gal a drop jaws. See the boy a beg a browning a lap dance. And open him head, everybody stop floss. Yo young king, something when me notice. Every man get bad from them by a black clocks. No walk with lost pussy, me no chop grass. Rifle a chop you like chicken back pass. Jenna man, wicked and cross. Shoot up a car wall, cut a crack glass. Throw a boy in a box like a pop tarts. And if you pussy them no stop talk. Lift up everything right now, cause I ready man ready. Skeleton ready, while the Remington steady. Rifle a chop out them belly and jelly. Pan clip, roll no like a elephant belly. I know them if you go circle them and stand shelly. Can't get your boy murder the from belly. Buck him at the liquor store, him a buy any game. 4 as him done order the cranberry. Seal them, everything bring it. load up the 17 brim it. Anywhere me go for them, I coulda see man a swim it. Bicycle we solve me chillin' still a remit. But from one pop days best bring it. 32 a race out less than a minute. Jump for the pantam so now no limit. Shallow grave one go dig it up, back down down in it. Step in a real life killer where you live it. Me no borrow boy gun for them tell me fi swing it. Messy with the mini K shot like midget. Up inside of the light post street like dimmy. Big up all of me killy friend them a grin it. Young Turks tell a boy try running at the village. Champions League badness and no skimmage. Black so healthy like it feet and spinach. Shape up everything right now cause I ready man ready. Skeleton ready while the Remington steady. Rifle a chop out them belly and jelly. Pan clip wall no like a elephant belly. I know them if it goes circle them and start shelly. Can't catch a boy murder the from belly. Buck him a the liquor store him a buy any game 4 as him done order the cranberry. Babylon ready man ready. CLM ready man ready. Grand spend ready man ready. Brockway ready man ready. Homestead.
Tell them some rifle sound sweet, you know. Like a vocal and Red Bull mix. You see me? You know, so the Rasta Rebel Anton with the Pantam. Your end chat on them in a sprinter. No damn thing going to Young King. Go on. Brockway, 4th gen. You know the thing going, you know. You know the thing go, man. Everything go on.
Lift up everything right now cause I ready man ready. Skeleton ready while the Remington steady. Rifle a chop out them belly and jelly. Pan clip wall no like a elephant belly. I know them if it go circle them and start shelly. Can't catch him boy murder the from belly. Buck him a the liquor store him a buy any game 4 as him done order the cranberry. Lift up everything right now. Right now.
Me hear them a make talk, me friend them make talk. And people life lost. We bad no blood clot, them not kill nobody. Them not kill nobody. No. Little boy, maybe empty a clip in your face. Man, we shoot up your place, them not kill nobody. Oh no, not kill nobody. 45 we rest in your face. If your face or your life just test man fate. Oh no, not kill nobody. Oh no, not kill nobody.
Me no shoot wife, you go doctor. Cause me no believe in a broke up or fracture. Them know me a killer, me no actor. So me we chop out your head with a lass, yeah.
Me we wrap up me head like a rasta. And circle your ends like a captor. Rev out everything out of the mac, yeah. Boy skull crack like a lobster.
I no software na da mac, yeah. Me no thump in a face, me no boxer. Killy thing that me response for. Give your girlfriend rose like a amber.
Me no war like a girl, me no pamper. Boy head bust like a tanker. All when me you like me grandpa. Me a send for your rifle way longer. Little boy, me be empty a clip in your face. Man we shoot up a place, them not kill nobody. Oh no, not kill nobody. 45 we rest in your face. If your face or your lie, just test man fate. Oh no, not kill nobody. Them not kill nobody. Me roll with killers, even me parried. Quick we bust a shot in your forehead. Knock off me no quarrel. From the PF me make a not off real. Left me from one and balling. The war get bitter, so we kill people often. You give away your life like offering. Me walk past him, now them fling him in coffin. 6 feet 6 them cast him. Decay with the varnish hunger. Left a hole in your head look like a triangle. My war them can't hunger. Me no grab up with man, no strangle, no wrestle with man. Me no use strength like Samsung 4-4 Magnum, bossy like Charles Bronson. Rise up the fucking tam-tam, so out of this world, boy, delete life cancel. Little boy, maybe empty a clip in your face. Man, we shoot up your place, them not kill nobody. Oh no, not kill nobody. Big 45, we rest in your face. If your face or your lie, just test man fate. Oh no, not kill nobody. Oh no, not kill nobody.
Me no shoot wife, you go doctor. Cause me no believe in a broke up or fracture. Them know me a killer, me no actor. So me we chop out your head with a lass, yeah.
Me we wrap up me head like a rasta. And circle your ends like a captor. Rev out everything out of the mac, yeah. Boy skull crack like a lobster.
I no software na da mac, yeah. Me no thump in a face, me no boxer. Killy thing that me response for. Give your girlfriend rose like a amber.
Me no war like a girl, me no pamper. Boy head bust like a tanker.
All when me you like me grandpa. Me a send for your rifle way longer.
We are back. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Jamaica Funk Show with KT. And we're talking to our guest tonight, Miss Sharpearl Wells. She's talking to me this evening about her son who was slain here in Chicago on March 4th, 2016, and the circumstances surrounding this young man's murder is very, very suspicious. And so she's given us some idea of what actually happened to the best of her ability. And it's an ongoing murder investigation, so her knowledge is limited. But without any further ado, Sharpearl?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. So now tell me, what are you guys doing right now in terms of, have you gotten an attorney? Are you, what's going on?
Yes, I did, unfortunately, because of Chicago Police Department refusal to actually hand us the tape or let us see the tape. We did have to hire an attorney. We're now with Michael Oppenheimer right now. Mm-hmm. And basically at this point, it's just like fighting them. So we have to resubmit everything all over again, submit FOIA, and then if they still deny it again for the second time, then our only option is to go into court. And I'm hoping that we don't have to go that far, because just like I was telling Chicago, the police department, I'm like, okay, from the time stamp that you say that you have these tapes and the 911 call, that means that he was already with you. So what are you trying to hide? He wasn't with us assailant because he couldn't be with the assailant because you said he came to you shot. So what you have is only what you were doing to him.
Now, another thing I want to ask you about. I want to ask you about the trajectory of the bullet and what the coroner told you, or what the police department told you about how your son, how the shot occurred.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Because this is a really important part of the case. When we arrived to the hospital, they told us our son had been shot in the back, and the bullet pierced his heart, and that's why he bled out so fast.
Now, who told you this? Was it the police or the doctor? Okay, that's what the doctor told. Okay.
And they said that they massaged his heart. They tried to, repair the damage to his heart. Once we got the autopsy report showed that my son indeed was shot once in the back, but it never hit his heart. His heart was in good condition, but it pierced. It went upward through his neck.
So, well, wait a minute. So you not only got CPD and Chicago Fire Department, but you got the Masonic Hospital also lying to you.
I don't want to say lie because I'm just
well,
the case.
Okay, so
I can
okay.
tell you is that there is a lot of discrepancy in my son's case.
Well, okay, so I'm going to say lie, because any two times somebody tells me my child was shot in the back and the bullet pierced his heart and we massaged his heart to bring him back, then the autopsy, and this is the coroner, tells us that yes, he was shot in the back, but the bullet went into his brain, not into his heart. That's an outright lie. I don't care how you want to look at it. I don't care how you want to cover it up. But that was an outright lie.
So when I saw my son, I don't know if because when I look at the reports, they said he was bleeding profusely. So I'm like, were you working on the wrong part? Because when you were, I really can't, it frustrates me because of course I was not there. So, when you have a loved one that's injured, it is imperative somebody be there to help them because of the fact that they don't do what they're supposed to do. I know, for instance, that they do not take care of black and brown children the way way that they take care of white counterparts. So I don't know if what they did. It's a lot of things that disturb me about my son's case. One other thing that disturbs me is the fact that at 118, Chicago Fire Department paramedics were on the scene, yet they did not leave the area until 129. Then they drove my son from Grandin Central all the way over to Wrigley Field to Illinois Masonic, which is another 20 minutes. So it took my son nearly 30 minutes to get to
So why didn't they just hop on the Eisenhower and go to
Stroger or Northwestern, anything? I have no idea. They said that they are required to take the patient's gunshot wounds to level 1 trauma center.
Well, isn't Stroger a level 1 trauma center?
It is. But they're saying that it's the same distance. But I told them that you would have gotten to Stroger faster because you're on the expressway. On Illinois Masonic, they can only take the streets.
Absolutely.
Which means that they have to slow down through every light.
Right.
To get to it. So I don't understand the logic of why they did what they did, but that's what happened with my son.
Sharpelle. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to hear, we're gonna have to end this interview because we're running out of time. Sharpelle, tell us if there's anything that the public can do.
Yes, we are still looking for the murderer of my son. We know that there are people who have seen things that happened that night on March 4th. There were some Snapchat videos. We're still looking to get them.
So where can they go to? Where can they, if anyone out here has any information with regards to Courtney Copeland's murder that occurred on March 4th, 2016 on the northwest side of Chicago, where can they get that information? Who can they send that information to?
Yes, you can reach us at 708-526-4546. And that's my direct number that I have set up for this. And also, we have a Facebook page. It's called Justice for Courtney Copeland on Facebook.
Okay. And if anyone want to hear more about this story, we'll excuse me, we will actually be taping live Thursday. And we will be putting that video once it's done and edited. We will put that video on YouTube on the Catherine Winston page and on JamaicaFunkShow.com. So I just want to say thank you guys for being with us this evening. You know, without you, there is no me. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to play the poetry for you this evening, but I felt that this interview was a little bit more important. On our next show, we will make sure that you hear that piece of poetry because it's a dynamic piece of poetry. So until then, until we talk again, I love you. God bless you. And, well, I remand.
Yo! See that? Them's a piece. I never will. She do, what am I bring? DJ. All when them dreams say them bad, yo. Not even at them sleep, them nobody know. Mark 90 beat, make the pussy watch him little brother marrow up on the street and blood clot, them say peace. When them hear the 50 calibers and them no hear the thing, them way antique like the Charlie boss. Make the link and make the gristle from T-Valley boss. Them they think they link them from Rivali broke. Blood clot. Pull up the car, pull up the seat. When the rifle, pull out your seat. All when police, pull up the street. Inspector, pull up the jeep, and send off a do it. Him fuck, when Martin, ready him out the pussy, blood up the sheet. Yeah. Me trigger finger just a click like David play the piano. And if you run under your woman, under them it can't go. Then him the cop and no left the lead and the yellow. Me clap the jelly chop and watch him live go ahead and spin and go. DJ, you see all when them dreams say them bad, yo. Not even at them sleep, them nobody know. Mark 19 beat, make the pussy watch him little brother marrow up on the street. Two blood drop, them say peace. When them hear the 50 calibers, no hear the thing, them way antique like the Charlie boss. Make the link and make the gristle from T-Valley boss. Them they think they link them from Rivali bro. Call up to the tongues and tell them for rent a vehicle fee.
Call up on them ends in a BM for seat, my seat. Cause anyway, me book him up and that's how people scream. All of the brawling sun, thugs a bleach and face a bleach for see. Shoot past sight, mama get the news past Skype. Say I wash belly, you'd ground fly. You don't try, cock a number one, a loose ball tight. Tell the sake I put the fool pan ice. DJ, you see all when them dreams say them body up. Not even all them dreams them nobody know. Mark 19 beat, make the pussy watch him little bread and my rope on the street to blood. Them say peace when them hear the 50 calibers. And them they hear the thing them way antique like the Jolly Boss. Make the liquor, make the grizzle from T-Valley Boss. Them they hear the pull up the car, pull out the seat.